Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing the end of the year survey. Now, this was originally created by a blog, which I believe was called Perpetual Pages, which I will link down as well. But I actually originally saw a booktuber do this video, and that was Bookables, and I will link her down below as well. Now, I am going to try to get through this as quickly as possible because there are a lot of questions on here. I am also, like Bookables, going to leave out some of the bloggish questions because that's just not something I'm into. I mean, I could, I guess, refer to Bookstagram and Booktube, but we're just going to, for the sake of things being shorter, leave those out. So I will be answering all the bookish questions on this. First is the best book that you read in 2020, and for this I'm going to go with The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. I'm starting to see a pattern in my all-time favorite books of like historical fiction with some time travel. It's apparently a thing I'm into that I didn't know I was into, but I've really enjoyed The Dream Daughter. It was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking and heartbreaking all in one, and it made me feel so many things, and it made me cry so hard. Also, I'm kind of losing light, so I do also need to get through these questions as fast as I can because it's going to get dark on me. Number 2 is a book you were excited about and thought you were going to love but didn't, and I had a different answer for this, but as I just DNF'd this book because I couldn't get through with this, we are going to go with The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I spent a whole month trying to read this book and only got 67 pages in, and I was so excited for it. It has a mom main character, it's got elemental magic, it's dystopian, it sounds freaking amazing, and I just couldn't get into it. I will probably try to reread it or read it. I will try to read it again, probably at a future date, but I don't know when that future date will be, and that is not a promise, but we shall see, because I do really, really want to love this. Number 3 is the most surprising book that you read in 2020, and for this I have to go with The Sword of Cayenne by Emma Wang. I swear I was not excited about this book. I read it for a vlog. I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was going to be hard to get through. It was freaking amazing. 5 stars amazing. And it is self-published as well, so if you have not read it and you are into some elemental magic and you are into a mom main character, you should read this book. Number 4 is a book that you pushed people to read the most, and they did. Now, I don't know if anybody has read this book because of me, but I have talked about it quite a bit on my channel, and that would be The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is one of the first books that I read this year that I really got into, that cut me out of like my 5-year reading slump. So I absolutely adore this book. It is secluded. It only takes place in like one distinct area, and it's got a little bit of magical realism in it, which I really enjoy. It was a mystery thriller, and it was absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Number 5 is actually 3 questions and 1. And first is best series you started in 2020, the best sequel, and the best series ender. So for that first one, I must go with The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This was by far my favorite series that I started this year. I have fallen in love, and I am currently reading The Dragon Republic as we speak. Well, not like literally as we speak, but I am currently in the middle of that book. So Yes. The best sequel would have to be The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. Now, this series wasn't an all-time favorite of mine, but I really did enjoy the characters and this little love story and how everything unfolded in this duology. So, yes, this would probably be one of my favorites. And for the best series ender that I read in 2020, I must go with Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Yes, I read this for the first time this year. I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. Also, I think, watch the movies at some point, but somehow I did not remember anything about this or the second book, which I had also never read, but I had watched the movie. So it was like reading it for the first time. And this series is popular for a reason, and it is absolutely amazing. I freaking love it. Number 6 is a favorite new author that you discovered in 2020. I will definitely have to go with Frederick Bachman. I just really fell in love with this quirky type of writing style, and I don't know if it's because it's translated from Swedish. I had to double check, but yes, his books are translated from Swedish to English. But I loved the writing style, and I definitely cannot wait to pick up more by him. Number 7 was best book that was from a genre that was out of your comfort zone. Once again, I have to go with The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang, because this just fits this prompt so good. Like this was the best book that I read this year that was super out of my comfort zone, but I absolutely freaking loved. Number 8, most action-packed, thrilling, unputdownable book of the year. And for this one, I'm gonna have to go with No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book is about a girl who gets stuck at a rest stop during a blizzard, and there's only a few people there with her, and she finds a kid in a cage in the back of the van. And the whole book is you and her at this rest stop, stuck in a blizzard, and her trying to figure out whose van it is and trying to rescue this kid out of this van. And it's so insane, and it was so good, and I cannot recommend it enough. Number 9 is a book that you read in 2020 that you will be most likely to reread next year or this year. I'm gonna have to go with The Obsidian Tower by Melissa Caruso, but also Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Both of these books were super well done and super good, but I was just not as into them as I could have been while I was reading them, whether it was just other stuff that was going on or whatnot. But they are both books that I really did enjoy all in all, but I would like to reread to see if I give a higher rating. Number 10 is favorite cover of a book you read in 2020. For this, I must go with Catherine House. I don't know what it is about this color scheme and the fantasy gates, but I think this was probably the best cover that I love. It's so me. Number 11 is most memorable character of 2020. For this, I'm going to go with Misaki from The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. She was just the most badass mom character that I could have ever asked for, and I'm so happy that I read that book just for that character. Number 13 is most thought-provoking or life-changing book of 2020, and again, I have 2 answers for this one. I'm gonna go with I Can't Make This Up, Life Lessons by Kevin Hart, and The Night Swim by Megan Golden. And these are both thought-provoking for totally different reasons. This one is about Kevin Hart's life and growing up and just how he got past all that to where he is today. And it really put some stuff in perspective for me this year, and I really needed it. It gave me that kick in the butt that I needed, so definitely this one. Now, The Night Swim. This one is thought-provoking for a completely different reason, because this, if you don't know, is about a rape case, and you are actually following like two different rape cases. You are following Rachel, who has her own podcast. She is following a rape case live on her podcast, like from the juror's box and all of that. And she is also finding out about this other rape case that happened years ago in the same town. And this is thought-provoking because it really puts into perspective what women have to go through to see their assaulters put into jail and how traumatic it is. There's just so much I learned about the system that I didn't know from this, about what women have to go through to get justice for what happened to them. So this is a very heavy read, but if you could stomach it, it is a very great story. Number 12 is the most beautifully written book you read of 2020. For this one, I'm going to have to go with Blood Moon by Lucy Caffu. This is the only book that I read this month that was written in verse, and it's about slut-shaming and being a teenager and breakups with your best friends. It's something that I think every teenager should read. There are some adult things in this, but this is something that I feel like every 16, 17, 18-year-old girl could relate to very easily, because it took me back to a place of high school. Like, I was there. I was feeling emotions I haven't felt since high school. You know how weird that is to feel like you're back in high school again when you're not? I'm 30. It was weird. But yes, that would definitely be the most beautifully written book of 2020. Number 14, a book you can't believe you waited until 2020 to read. Again, I'm going to have to bring out this bad boy, because this and Catching Fire, technically, I just can't believe that it took me that long to finish a series that I absolutely loved, and I have no idea why I stopped. I just went into my reading slump. You know what? I think I may have discovered Divergent right after the first Hunger Games book, and that may have detoured me just a little bit. But yes, I cannot believe that I waited so freaking long to read this book. Number 15 is going to be a favorite quote from a book in 2020. Now, I have it written down. The first one is from Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that is going to be, it's like some of us are chasing nightmares the way other people chase dreams. And then another quote that I really loved this year was from Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, and that is, this story is about a lot of things, but mostly about idiots. So it needs saying from the outset that it's always very easy to declare that other people are idiots, but only if you forget how idiotically difficult being human is. And that one was kind of long, but I just don't know why. I just love it so much. Number 16 is the shortest and the longest book that you read in 2020. Now, the longest book that I read this year would definitely have to be Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, which comes in at a whopping 803 pages. And the shortest book that I read this year is going to be Dead Trees Give No Shelter by Will Wheaton, which comes in at a very small 55 pages. Number 17 is the book that shocked you the most in 2020. Definitely Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pembroke. That freaking plot twist at the very end had me spinning. Also, let me go ahead and say Home Before Dark, because yeah, if you know, you know, but these two definitely shocked me the most, though, definitely. Number 18 is OTP of the year. You will go down with this ship. I'm really not a big thing for ships, and there's not like a really big like couple that I just root for anymore. But I will say that Marco and Alana from the Saga series, I would be mad if anything happened to them, because and don't spoil me, I've only finished book 3 or volume 3, so I've got a long ways to go. But yes, I do really, really enjoy their characters. Number 19 is a favorite non-romantic relationship of the year, and I think I'm gonna have to go with Caroline and Hunter from The Dream Daughter. They are brother-in-law and sister-in-law, but I really loved their dynamic, and even with her sister and his wife, like, I just loved that family. That was definitely my most favorite non-romantic relationship of the year. Number 20 is favorite book you read from an author you've read previously. Now, as I have been out of reading and I read a lot of new stuff this year, I think the only person that fits this is Suzanne Collins. So Mockingjay would be my only answer for this. Number 21 is best book that you read based solely on a recommendation. Definitely The Poppy War, but also Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. They were both so good, and they were both recommendations from Jessie over at The Bookish Mom. I will link below. I'm running out of light, so we're speeding through these really fast, okay? Number 22 is newest fictional crush. I don't really have these, so I'm just gonna skip this question. Number 23 is best 2020 debut. Definitely Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I absolutely love this book. Number 24 is best world building, most vivid setting that you've read this year. For this, I will have to go with Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The way the descriptions are of the oasis in that book was just, I could see everything in my head so clearly, and it was definitely the best world building, most vivid world building that I read this year. Number 25 is a book that put a smile on your face and was the most fun to read. For this, again, I'm going to go with Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This book is laugh out loud hilarious, and the audiobook makes it so great. Number 26 is a book that made you cry. For this, we will go with Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because I remember finishing this audiobook and driving while I was finishing it and just bawling my eyes out. I vividly remember this cry sesh. Number 27 is a hidden gem of the year. I'm going to have to go with Blood Moon by Lucy Caffu, because I've not seen anybody else talk about this book, and it was very good. I ended up giving it 5 stars. It took me back to my teenage years, like I said. Number 28 is a book that crushed your soul. Definitely The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain, but also The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wayne. Both were soul crushing at points. Question 29 is most unique book that you read in 2020. Catherine House was very different and very unique to me, but also a book that I haven't mentioned yet. I think that it's technically coming out in February now, but it was supposed to come out in December of 2020, and I had an e-arc of it, but that is A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. This horror story was so scary, but in such a different way. I've never read Bird Box, but I've seen the movie, and it's like horror in a different type of way because you don't see scary things. It's all a feeling. And that's pretty much what I got from this. It was so, so good. And if you are into horror, I think you should totally, totally read this book. It's very short, like 150 pages. It was so, so good. And if you've ever had a fear of water or drowning or anything like that, it will definitely intensify that. So guys, it got too dark for me to film, but that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it. Thanks for sticking around through all those questions and wanting to know my thoughts on the books that I read this year. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Bye guys.